Okay, so once again, very good afternoon. So we have discussed in the previous class that how the distance vector routing algorithm works. And we have also seen that there is a problem in the distance vector routing. If you remember this slide, this problem is a routing loop problem and also called as a count to infinity problem. So basically, the count to infinity problem leads to the high convergence time for the algorithm. Means multiple more number of iterations are required by the time the algorithm converges and the state of the routing table becomes consistent for all the nodes. So this problem we have seen with respect to this topology. So now we'll see the what is there any solution for that. So as we have observed that the problem, so yeah, with respect to this topology only, we have observed the problem. So first we'll talk about the two solutions. So the problem here is, so before this, uh, link cost changes from 4 to 60, what was the state? The state was that Z is reaching to X via Y, right? So before this 60 was not there, I mean link cost was 4 was there. Then because Z direct cost from Z to X is 50, which is more, so that's why Z is routing or reaching to X via Y. So, and that cost is equals to 4 plus 1, that is 5, right? And then what happens? This link cost changes from 4 to 60, which is observed by the Y. And then Y thought that, okay, because Z has advertised this route to me for the destination X, and that route is now better because it is of cost 5, because Z is telling that, okay, I mean Z, when Z is using this route, then Z advertising the route, this route to Y, and that indicates to Y that, okay, via Z I can reach to the X in a 5 plus 1, that is a cost 6 I can reach. If so, when the link cost was 4, that time it was not using this path, means Z is directly reaching to the X. But once this link cost is become 4 to 60, then Y is thinking that fine, I have a better option than than this cost 60, so I will route via Z only. And this leads to the a routing loop problem. So basically what happens, uh, Z is advertising, so Z is advertising the route to Y, uh, which it was learned from Y only, right? So this is the root problem or root cause of this problem. So keeping this thing in mind, that two solutions are there. Basically, uh, more or less they are same. We'll see that what is the difference. So if you just uh, reading this, that split horizon means this rule states that a route cannot be advertised out of the interface if the next hop for the advertised route is found on that interface. So with respect to this topology, if you'll see that Z is not supposed to route Z is not supposed to advertise the route which it learns, advertise the route to this interface. Which interface? The interface through which it is connected to Y. It should not advertise back that route if this route was learned from this interface only. Then it is not supposed to advertise back to Y, because Z this route to X Z learned from the Y only. So Y means on this interface only. Then after learning this, it should not re-advertise this route to back to the same interface from where it learned. So if it is not giving back this thing to Y, then definitely Y will not choose this thing. Y don't have any clue that, okay, there is a route available via Z also to the X, and Y will simply using the 60 only, and then the algorithm will converge. Okay, that is the split horizon. Then Poisson River says that slight change is there. You will observe once I read it. So Poisson River's rule states that routes received via one interface have to be advertised back out from that interface with an unreachable metric. So Poisson Rivers is saying, okay, if Z has learned a route via Y for certain destination, in this case the destination is X, then Z can re-advertise the route on back to the same interface with an unreachable matrix. Means the matrix which is, okay, say infinite kind of a cost, infinite cost. He can, so that is no use of Y, because Y definitely the infinite cost will be always higher than whatever any other cost is there, right? So according to the protocol, this infinity meaning is different. Say for example, there is a protocol which is RIP, which is based on the distance vector routing algorithm, routing information protocol we call as. This RIP uses infinity as a 16. So any link cost value, it is more than 15 is considered as an infinity, because the valid cost of a link is cannot be more than 15. So maximum 15, any route cannot be more than the 15 hops. So each hop it assigns one as a cost, and then maximum route can be of 15 hops. And so as anything more than the 15 means it is considered as an infinity. So according to the protocol, means the value of infinity can be uh, decided, and based on that, that value can be set. So just to repeat that, Poisson River says that, okay, there is no harm that Z can advertise back the route to the interface from which it learned, but it should tell the lie actually. It should poison the route. It should not tell the correct thing. Actual value is 5, but it is telling that, okay, no, my cost to X via Y is infinity, it's supposed to tell. Split horizon says that, okay, you should not you should defer any route advertisement back to the interface from which you learned that route. So that says you're not at all advertising anything. Poisson River saying you can advertise, but with the infinity cost. So now we'll see the so how this solution works. So split horizon with Poisson Rivers. That's the practically it is implemented wherever this distance vector routing algorithm is used, or any protocol which uses the DV routing algorithm. So here we will understand how it is going to work with the same example which we took. So here if the Z routes through Y to get X, then Z tells Y its distance to X is infinite. So Y would not route to X via Z. So we will see that before this link cost was changed from 4 to 60, what was the situation? So the Y's table is looking like this. Same, we are using that example which you use. So for destination X, we are interested. So before that, 4 was the minimum cost, direct cost to X, and via Z. So with the Poisson Rivers, what you will do, so let me first take this Z table, and then we'll write the via Z cost to X. So this is Z table, X, Y, and this is via X, Y, and X cost is, so direct cost from Z to X is 50. This is 50. And via Y, the cost is 5. Because Y is telling that I can take you to 5 in 5 in cost 5 to X. So this is the situation at t equals to 0 when this link cost was 4. Now at this stage also means, because Y this 5 cost route Y learn from the Y. So actually before that the Y will tell the Z will tell to Y, according to the split horizon with Poisson Rivers, it should not tell the correct cost of the path. Uh, so it will tell that, okay, infinity, my cost to X. So Z is telling, or Z is advertising that my cost to X via U is infinity actually, right? So it is telling the lie. So that's why it's called as a Poisson Rivers. It's poisoning the route, this path right, with the wrong value. So this is the situation. Now at t equals to 1 time, let us say timestamp 1, this cost becomes now 4 to 60. Now what will happen? So this cost change will is observed. We are assuming that it is observed by the node y. So node y, how its table or its distance to x will or cost to x will change. So now it says that okay, 4 becomes 60, and it has y has information that okay, via z the cost to x is infinity. So finally, this 60 is the least compared to infinity. Okay, infinity in present case we are assuming okay it is higher value than the 60. So and z, because z table will remain same with respect to the x because there is no change observed at t equals to 1. Now because of this least cost to x at y is changed from 4 to 60, so y will advertise this to z. So after receiving this advertisement, how the z table will change? Z table will change like this. So its direct cost to x is 50. Direct cost is 50, and now y, because now y is telling okay my cost to x is 60, so then z is saying that okay if y is telling that dy x which is coming to me is as a 60, so my cost to y is 1, so if I want to go to x via y, then my cost will be 61, but my least cost, so now in this case now my least cost to x is now changed from 5 to 50, right? So then what happened at time, so this happened at time t2. Now at time t3, time equals to or at the third times stamp, what happened, z will give its advertise its least cost because its least cost is modified, so it will advertise to y, because before that its cost was 5, now it least cost to x is 50, so 50 it will give back to z. Why it is giving back to z this 50? Because 50 is not the cost, 50 to x at z is not via y, it is on a direct link, so that's why it will tell the correct value. So the correct value it will tell, then what happened, dy, and this is xz and x cost. So this is already 60. Direct cost is 60, and now z is saying that okay my cost to x is 50. So this 50 it is telling, so 50, and now y knows that okay fine, me to z is 1, so it will be 51. Now 51 is less than the 60, so that's why 51 is the least cost. So you can see that the y's least cost to x is changed from 60 to 51. It was 60, here also it was 60, so now it becomes 51. Okay, and there is no change here at this time. So because its least cost is changed, so now y will advertise to z also in the next timestamp that okay my cost is least cost is changed. You check it, if you have your cost is also changed, then you can use it, this thing. So xy via, okay, so direct cost is 50. So now what cost y will, whether y will tell the correct value according to split Horizon and Poisson reverse, y will tell the correct value or it will tell the Poisson value, because when y is saying that okay my least cost this 51 for destination x, but it is this cost is via the z, and actually this route it learns from the z only, so it should not tell the correct value, so it will tell to z that is a poisoned value, so this is Poisson value it will tell, and Poisson value is, so basically here it will apply Poisson reverse. Right, so according to the Poisson is, so it will tell that okay my cost to x is infinity, right, via y, not because it is routing via z only, so that's why it is now telling the cost as infinity. So once the infinity it will receive, it will say, okay, fine, infinity, then okay, I will still using the same cost to x. So its least cost is not change. Not change means the algorithm is converged here. After that, there will be no route advertisement from either y or z. So we'll say my algorithm is converged. So you can see in this case, it is converged into 4 steps only. This was the initial step. Then the link cost change was observed by y, and after that, you can say in a 4 iteration, my algorithm is converged. But if we are not applying this Poisson reverse with the split horizon with Poisson reverse, then we have seen that it was taking or it will take uh, iterations, more number of iterations, right? Exactly how many iterations, that also we can calculate. So it will start from, I think, 5, then 6, 7, 8, like that. It will go up to 50. So maybe some 45 iterations will go, right? So this is the way how it works, right? So now this thing is okay for, or the solution is okay for that a loop of 2 hop. Like in this case, loop was there between y and z. But if you have a scenario like this, suppose same topology, but yeah, slightly different. So if I say this is y, and so this is x, this is z. Only thing is that, okay, you have to see that, okay, it's not, so this link cost is 4 and 4 becomes 60, this is 50. Let us say this link cost is 3. Then there is a one more, you can say hop is there, y to w and w to z. So in this case, what happened? And these link cost is 1, 1, right? So now there is a, so when this link cost will become 4 to 60, then what will happen? Y will route via W to Z to X, right? And Z is also routing via W to via WY to X. So in this situation, this Poisson reverse will not work. What is this? How this situation is different from this situation? Here we have a loop with more than 2 nodes or 2 hops. So here there are 3 nodes are there in the loop. So that will not be covered with this solution. So this Poisson reverse solution works only for the 2 hop. So it is valid or it works basically valid only for 2 hop loops, or it works basically, that can be the better word. It works only for 2 hop loops, not for more than 2. So that's a limitation. So that's why this algorithm is usually the convergence time is more in general for the distance vector. Okay. So now we'll see that the protocol which is based on this distance vector, and this is RIP, routing information protocol, and the distance metric, that's the number of hops, maximum number of hops it allows is 15, as I said, and per hop cost is 1. That's the way it considers. So that's why the 16 value is used. So if somebody say RIP protocol is used and Poisson reverse is used, then in for the infinity, you can, in place of infinity, you can use 16. So 16 is basically infinity. All, so you don't have, you will never have a path with cost more than 15 in that case, if RIP protocol is there. And that is also a limitation also RIP, because if a end-to-end path is more than 15 hops, then that communication cannot be successful, because then your packet will never reach to the destination, because after 15 hops your hop count will become 0, and then after that no packet forwarding is there. So if the width of the network is more than 15, then it is not work. But usually says that, okay, on the internet maybe most of the destinations are not apart from more than 15 hops. That's the reason why they have kept it. So distance vectors are exchanged among neighbors every 30 seconds via the response messages, which is called as a advertisement. So 30-second these messages, every 30 seconds the messages are exchanged, and each advertisement can list up to 25 destinations destination network prefixes within the autonomous system, because it's an intra-domain, so that's why within autonomous system. RIP routing tables managed by application level. So you can see basically it's an application level. RIP is an application, right, which runs at a routers, right? It's an application but runs at the router. So and uses the UDP packets. So transport layer, it uses UDP, and it is used to construct the forwarding table at a network layer. So you can say it's an application which is runs at a network layer. And the application level process is called as a root D. That's a daemon. So daemon is a process which runs means continuously, kind of thing. Whatever frequent periodically it is repeating. Continuously running process, that's automatically, that is a daemon process is there. In operating system you might have learned. Okay, let's look at one simple example of working of RIP. So you have in this topology you have a destination network, like this is a destination network W, X, Y, Z. These are the destination networks. Then yeah, there are others are there, names are not means okay, you mean like that the list can be long, depends upon how many networks are there. And the next router for, so currently this table is at D, router D. So this is my router D, right? So router D's current state is what? Destination network W. For W the next router is A. So W it is reaching via A. This is a W path. Y it is reaching via B. So path to Y is via B, and Z is so path to Y is via B, path to Z is also via B, right? And the number of hops also you can see that for W it is a 2 hops, 1 hop and second hop. So 2 hops are there. And for Y it is 2 hops are there. This is 1 hop and this is another hop. In 2 hops it is reaching. And similarly for Z, maybe because here maybe multiple hops are there, so it is 7 and 1. So now in this situation, let us say that this advertisement came from A to D. So A is telling and sending this to D, saying that okay, my cost to Z is 4, right? So the present cost is Z, for the Z is that is a 7 at D. So now A is telling that okay, my cost to Z is 4, and so my cost is Z to 4 and its next hop is C, right? So that's next hop, fine, that's not. So it is basically telling that okay, giving the distance vector saying that okay, my cost to Z is 4, and the D knows that okay, my cost to A is what? 1 hop. So I can reach to the A in 1 hop, and then A will take me to the Z in a 4 cost. So 4 plus 1, my cost will become 5. So that's why 5 is less than 7. So that's why it will make it 5. And the next hop also will change. Earlier, this D was reaching to Z via B. Now it says, okay, via A, I have a better path. And A is telling me I can take you to the Z in 4 hops, and the distance between me and A is 1 hop, so 4 plus 1, 5, and my next router also will change. So this is the way it works. There is a provision for the link failure and recovery also. Is the no advertisement heard after 180 seconds. So periodicity is a 30 seconds, but okay, maybe sometime some packet loss or maybe delayed due to network congestion and all, because in internet we use the same channel for data packets as well as for the control packets. So the congestion due to congestion packets may lost also. And because it is using UDP, so there is no reliability also. So in that case, so it waits for 180 seconds. If 180 seconds still it is not no advertisement is coming, then it assumes that okay, this my neighbor is declared as a dead. Then routes via the neighbor are invalidated, and then it try to figure out the other routes, alternate routes to reach to the destinations. that it was reaching earlier via this so-called failed link. So new advertisement sent to the neighbors. Based on that, its least cost will change. So it will send the new cost to the neighbors. Neighbors in turn send out the new advertisement if their table change, and link failure info quickly propagates to the entire network. And Poisson reverse is used to prevent these loops, ping pong loops between the two hops. And infinity distance is 16 hops that we have already know that. Okay. Few weaknesses. One is that this limitation of this infinity means limitation of the total path length can be just 15 hops, not more than that. So that's the one limitation we can say. Although, as I mentioned, that uh, mostly from one end to other end of the internet, the distance is not more than 15 hops. You can check it on the trace route also. You take arbitrary any URLs and then see that okay from your location, or the trace route program which provides that okay from location A to location B how many hops path is there. So you will find that mostly it is most of the paths are in a 15 hop within the range of that. But yeah, still this is in a limitation that okay more than 15 hops path cannot be achieved. Then difficulty in supporting the multiple matrices. So just one. So suppose the typical matrices which can be used for finding better path between the source destination pair. That is bandwidth is a one thing, throughput, delay, reliability. These are the factors that decide the you can say the betterment of the path or a best path kind of thing. Based on that, the best path can be selected. So the combination of these matrices or multiple matrices cannot be used, right? So that's and the count to infinity problem anyway it is there because the Poisson reverse is not solving all form of the count to infinity. Just two hop loops can be avoided, but more than two hops cannot be avoided. Okay, so this completes our intra-domain routing system or intra-domain routing used in the internet. So we have discussed two algorithms, one centralized algorithm, one distributed algorithm, right? And we have also, I have discussed the working of both the algorithms, how it works, and then corresponding the protocols which are based on these two algorithms. OSPF is a more um, you can say the protocol which is used predominantly in the internet as compared to the RIP because of you know that RIP have the problem. Uh, uh, this OSPF is based on the Dijkstra, so it has a link state routing, so it has a problem also. It means large networks means it's very its complexity is high. So that's why to avoid that we have seen that a hierarchical there is a hierarchical routing option in the OSPF in which we can divide the network into different segments, and in each segment OSPF we can divide in the areas or different segments, and then each area the algorithm can be run. So that gives the solution for the high complexity for large size networks. So that's why OSPF is mostly used in the IP based network in today's time, and RIP is mostly obsolete, you can say, not much used. Most of the route, if any router you purchase, mostly they come up with the OSPF configuration only. So, but this is about the intra-domain routing, right? But you know that okay from so your internet is what basically internet is a group of or it's a network of networks, and these networks are basically in the form of autonomous systems. Different multiple autonomous systems are there. So within an autonomous system it is fine. Across the autonomous system also we require some routing because a user can be client can be at a one autonomous system connected and the server can be connected to another autonomous system. So then we need a path from one autonomous system to another autonomous system, and these two autonomous systems may be directly connected or maybe there may be some in between autonomous systems are also there. So that's why there is a need for inter-domain routing also, which is called as a between the autonomous systems. So inter-domain routing, intra-domain routing we have already discussed, right? So this ISIS and EIGRP are the earlier protocols before RIP and OSPF, which were based on ISIS is based on link state routing and EIGRP is based on distance vector routing. So they are earlier version of the. So first this came and then RIP, this came and then RIP, sorry, OSPF. So this we have already seen. Intra-domain routing, which is routers are managed by a single institution or single organization, but inter-domain means across the multiple organizations how the routing happens. Okay. So the protocol which is used for the inter-domain routing is called as a BGP, Border Gateway Protocol, right? So that we will discuss, and so the next is that we'll discuss the BGP. So don't worry right now about, we'll cover these things with respect to the BGP. So we'll do one by one. So first look at this. So this is a big picture in the sense this is how your internet is there. So basically multiple ISPs are there, and these ISPs are categorized into tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. I think in the beginning of the semester I have told you that this on the what basis these ISPs have been categorized tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. It's not a means a kind of a hierarchy that, but this tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 is based on the autonomous systems size, means how much geographical area it is covering. So based on that, the autonomous systems are categorized or classified into tiers. So tier 1 is something that is they have a large reachability across the continent kind of thing, or multiple continent. We call it a tier 1 autonomous system. Then tier 2, tier 3, and so on, right? Then local ISP concept is also there, like in your state or like in Rajasthan, Pilani, there is a provider which is giving the internet services to BITS or other organization in the Pilani, and that is given by the local ISP, right? So similarly, in each state, the local ISPs work, or you may have a tier 3 so tier 2 ISPs. Tier 2 ISPs mostly have the reachability in the countrywide reachability, right? Tier 3 they may have a reachability within the country, but in a limited states and so on. So based on that, this tiering is there, right? So sometimes tier 3 is also called as a local, or even there one more hierarchy is there within the state. You may have a few you can say local ISPs are there, they give the services in maybe 1 or 2 districts or kind of thing. So that hierarchy can go below as well, go down as well. Now the thing is that, okay, these autonomous systems are connected, means these ASAs like these ISP, they connected in some fashion. It's not like that tier 1 has to connect to tier 2 only, or tier 1 can connect and all. That is completely depend upon the you can say the mutual agreement or mutual relationships between the two autonomous systems, how they want to connect. In general, two connecting points, if you remember, one is exchange point kind of thing, or one is the directly peer-to-peer link they can connect. But in some fashion, they need to interconnect. Otherwise, suppose here one customer is there, one suppose client is there, and here one the server is there, and this client and server this client wants to connect to this server, then it cannot connect or it cannot access this server if the interconnectivity between the autonomous systems is not there. So in some fashion, they should be connected, right? Now, how they connect, that's completely, as I said, it depends upon that the mutual agreement between the autonomous systems. Okay. So autonomous system is what? AS is an actual entity that participate in the routing. So we call basically this, like this is one autonomous system. So this autonomous system, what it has, basically it has some routers, they are interconnected, links are there, and now this autonomous system is assigned a number. This is, earlier it was a 16-bit number. Now after 2007, this number is increased to 32-bit, because there is more and more autonomous systems are increased, because 2 power 16 total can be there. Now it is increased more, so that they have changed to from 16 to 32-bit, and that is assigned, unique number is assigned. And this autonomous system is, entire autonomous system is represented or identified by this number. uniquely across the other autonomous system. So then there can be a one or more than one, you can say, gateway router, which we call as a BGP routers, means the BGP protocol runs. So BGP routers. So these BGP routers represents, you can say, to this organization or this ISP or this autonomous system to outside world with this number. So suppose this one autonomous system is this and another autonomous system, this is AS1 and this is AS2. AS2 also have the interconnection of various routers and it has some customers networks through which it is connected. This also some networks it is connected, right? These are the networks basically. Like this can be BITS Pilani, this can be IIT Delhi, something like that, right? So here on this autonomous system two also have a one router, at least one router is there that needs to be BGP enabled router. Now these two BGP enabled routers basically they need to interface or talk to each other. And there is a connection. If there is no such connection is there, then any customer from here or any customer from here, they cannot interface with each other. This is the only case if this, or they need to find some other way to reach to this via some other autonomous systems. But primarily we can say, okay, there is some connectivity is there. So this connectivity basically here on this link, the BGP protocol works. So these are the examples of some of the tier 1 ISPs, MIT, CMU, AT&T, UENet and Sprint. And mostly these tier 1 ISPs are situated in the North America and US, you can say primarily in the North America are there, most of them. So now next is how do these ASAs interconnect to provide the global connectivity, and how does routing information get exchanged, and most important question is that which routing algorithm we should use it. Can we use the routing algorithms that we have already discussed with respect to the intra-domain routing, right? So that we need to figure out. So this is a picture of interconnected autonomous systems. So three autonomous systems you can see, AS1, AS2, AS3, and one of the router from AS3 and one of the router from AS1, they are interconnected basically. So this link will be used to route the packet across the autonomous systems. Similarly here also between AS1 and AS2 also there is a connectivity between this router and this router. So basically these routers with the red boundary, they are BGP routers. And this X here is saying that's a network basically. So some network, let us say it is 120.20.10.0/24 network is there. So yeah, these many prefixes. This we call as a prefix. So this prefix contains 2 power 8 total hosts or total IP addresses that is reachable or it is directly connected to AS3. Okay. So now first we look at that these autonomous systems, what are their category before going into how they interconnect and what they do. There are different types of autonomous systems. One autonomous system is something like this. So you have where AS1 and AS2 is there, and let us say there is a connectivity between the AS1 and AS2. I will tell you that how this connectivity and what they exchange when I'll talk about, I'll introduce you the BGP protocol as such. Right now you assume that, okay, yeah, there is a basically here one router in here one router and these two routers are communicating over some protocol, right? So if this is there, then that AS1 carries only the local traffic, means in this case AS1 is receiving the traffic from AS2 and AS and sending its traffic to AS2, that's all. So basically AS1 is not forwarding the traffic which is received from AS2 to any other autonomous system somewhere maybe here. So AS1 is not forwarding. So in this case we'll call AS1 is basically a stub autonomous system. Suppose in BITS Pilani we have a BGP router and we have a one, you can say, autonomous system. We have taken one autonomous system. We register ourselves as an autonomous system. And then we got one autonomous system and we have one BGP router, through that we connected. But we are just receiving the traffic and then we are forwarding the traffic from our own local network, like with the host which are connected, host which are used by students, faculty and all, right? but we are not forwarding any traffic which is received for some other destinations through the autonomous system, other autonomous system to which we are connected, right? So if we are not forwarding anything, we are just receiving the traffic for our own network and forwarding the traffic outside for all the outside traffic we are forwarding, that's all, to the autonomous system through which we are connected, right? So then we'll say this is a stub network. We are a stub network. But now in this case, uh, now AS1 is autonomous system, AS2 is autonomous system, AS3 is autonomous system. So now AS1 is connected with the two autonomous systems. Suppose we have, I mean, a BITS Pilani, we have a connected with the autonomous system, let's say BSNL also, we have connected autonomous system with the Reliance also. So we have a two connectivity with the two autonomous systems, right? And we are also, let us assume that autonomous system. Just now, I think we have upgraded ourselves as an autonomous system also. Earlier, it was not there. So now what happened? So now in this case, if I say that I have two connectivity, so I can receive the traffic from here as an AS1 and forward here, receive the traffic from AS3 and then forward to traffic to AS3, but not that traffic from AS2 I am receiving for some destination that which may be reachable via AS3. That traffic I need to forward to AS3. This is not there. If this is not there, then I am called as a multi-homed autonomous system. Then AS1 will be called as a multi-homed autonomous system. So what is multi-homed autonomous system? A autonomous system which is connected with the two autonomous system, but no, it is not becoming a transit between the two autonomous system, AS2 and AS3. If it is transit, means it is forwarding the traffic which is received from AS2 for some destination which are reachable via AS3. Means these destinations are not belongs to AS1. So it is something like that. I am taking someone else packets and then forwarding these packets to uh, this another autonomous system so that they can reach to the destination. So then I will be called as a transit. I am transit between the AS2 and AS3. So usually uh, no autonomous system wants to be a transit, because transit means I'm not getting any benefit actually. Basically, the outside traffic, my network resources are used to forward the outside traffic. If this traffic is coming for my own customers, then fine, then it is good, because my customers are paying to me, right? But I am just forwarding, I am becoming a transit between these two, then mostly it is not. But in some cases, I will tell you that in some cases, the autonomous system can be in a transit situation also. But as I said that, okay, the reason for not to becoming a transit way, because what I am getting actually, unnecessarily my resources are consumed and my customers are not benefiting from that. And if I am majority of the traffic, I am just forwarding for the others only, then maybe my internal traffic will be suffered unnecessarily, because ultimately the internal resources has to be used for forwarding that traffic also, right? So there are three categories of the autonomous systems: stub, multi-home, and transit, right? Okay, so next is now the question is that, okay, fine, inter for we what we understood that the internet is basically is a network of multiple networks, or multiple, these networks are nothing but basically autonomous systems. So for end-to-end reachability, certainly we require some routing that we understood, some packet transfer or traffic should be transferred from one autonomous system to another autonomous system also. Now the question is what, because if a traffic has to be forwarded from one autonomous system to another autonomous system, right? Now, if that autonomous system have multiple neighbors, they it is connected with a multiple autonomous system, then where it will forward? The problem is same as, you just consider like in intra-domain routing, what you have these routers are connected. Now, suppose here I get some packet for some destination. Should I forward in this direction or this direction? That for taking that decision, we run the routing algorithm, and routing algorithm gives me the forwarding table, and based on the forwarding table, either I forward to this direction or this direction, depends upon the how my forwarding table entry. Similarly, if you just visualize this as a, this is an autonomous system, and inside that so one, you can say 1.1 BGP router connected here, here, here. Now autonomous system, one autonomous system may also be connected to the multiple autonomous system. So to where to forward the traffic, that decision is applicable to here also in this situation. So that means some routing algorithm is required, some routing protocol is required. So now the question is that, okay, why we are looking for anything new? Can we use link state or distance vector, which are already there and which have been used in intra-domain? So now we'll take it one by one. So link state, you know that, okay, because globally, if you see that there's a huge topology, so many autonomous systems are there. You know that, okay, even the 16 number identifier becomes short, so that's why less. So that's why the 32-bit identifier was assigned, or to identify the autonomous systems in 2007 itself. So now the number of autonomous, even you can Google also, you can find how many autonomous systems are there in the world right now. So that number will be huge. So link state certainly will not work if a centralized algorithm will not be going to work. So matrices use, so large database, that's a problem with the link state. And in a link state, because to run the link state, they need to, means one autonomous system will need to expose the policies to other ASs also, because they need to exchange the route advertisement. And through that, maybe one autonomous system have to send some information. And so, because these autonomous systems are basically, they are competitors. So no autonomous system want to reveal its internal link weights, etc., how it is assigning to other autonomous system. So that's another problem. And without a consistent, you can say, metric, link cost metric, you cannot run the link state routing, right? Because a centralized algorithm. So, and distance vector problem is that also will a problem of looping, so it may not converge. So then if it is not converging, then what happen, my packets, the packets will be in a stuck in some loop, sometime 3-hop loop, sometime 4-hop loop, and don't know, right? So both the algorithms, intra-domain routing algorithms, cannot be used as it is. So that's why we need a different algorithm. So that different algorithm is basically distance vector with path, because the looping problem needs to be avoided completely in the algorithm itself. So each routing update carries the entire path also, which is not there in the distance vector. Only distance vector just give the cost. Say that, okay, this is the cost to me, my cost to reach destination X, this is the cost. Now, if you are interested, you can use this and forward any traffic belongs to this destination to me. Otherwise, it's fine. So, but the entire path is not supplied by the advertiser in the distance vector. So here it says that, okay, fine, because that can create a looping problem and there is no solution exist for the looping. So each routing update carries the entire path. Now it is easy. When a path is carried, so I am sending the entire path, how I am reaching to destination X. So suppose it is something like that. Suppose some destination X, I am saying, okay, destination X, it is coming from some autonomous system 5, then autonomous system 3, 3 is there, then autonomous system. So let me write in this way, 3, then autonomous system 2 is there. And let us say I am the autonomous system 1, AS1. So this I am giving to my neighbor. So I am autonomous system AS1 and my neighbor is suppose AS6. So I have received some path for destination X, this path 5, 3, 2, this path I have received. And now this path I am giving to this fellow AS6. Then I will add my autonomous system also into add, and then I say, okay, fine, right? Or so in then AS6 will see that, okay, what is the path from where this route is coming? Okay, 5, 3, 2, 1. I am not there in that. That means if I will import this route in my routing table, then this will not create any loop for me. Okay, it can easily figure out. If in place of that, if it is like this, suppose this route is coming from 6, then 3, then 2, and then it reaches to 1 via some, maybe some other, there are multiple autonomous systems are there, right? So now AS1 is sending this to AS6, you take this route. Now so AS6 will take it and we will see that I already there in this route, so it will check it the entire path. It say, oh, this route is originated by me only, so then it will refuse this route. So no, if I will import in my routing table, then it will create a loop, right? So this way the looping problem can be avoided by adding the path, entire path, which we call as a AS path in the route advertisement, and then the rest of the thing is same as a distance vector only. Okay, so based on this routing algorithm, the protocol which is used for interdomain routing is, and which is based on the, so this is called as a distance vector with path vector. Path vector is also there, right? So this protocol is BGP4, which is there, and BGP, you can say this is the journey of the BGP protocol, started in 1989 with BGP1. Corresponding RFCs are mentioned here, which gives the complete detail of that protocol. Then 1990 BGP2, 91.3, 95.4, then 2006 onwards BGP4 is there, but it's some upgradation have been done, and basically support for CIDR and route aggregation or something has been added into that. So it is very old protocol which is used till today, right? Okay, so we'll just I'll take 5 more minutes and then we'll close it, and then rest of the things we'll complete maybe in the next class. Okay, so now come to this. So we understood that, okay, fine, there's something different protocol is, algorithm is required, and now we'll see that, okay, how the two autonomous system will basically exchange the routes. Definitely they are going to exchange the routes with the AS path, and route is in the form of prefix, network prefix. Network prefix will be the, so network prefix plus AS path definitely will be there along with that. So two autonomous system, as I mentioned, there's one of the router which is supposed to represent that autonomous system. So here it is representing AS1 and this is representing AS2, right? So they establish a connection, we call as a BGP session on TCP port 179. So again, BGP, you can say it's a network application, a routing application which runs at a net, you can say the layer 3 router or BGP router, right? Because it has to run the BGP applications, right? We call as a BGP router. So this connection basically established means for a long duration. Means it's not just one or two message exchange and then stop it. Maybe it can stay for a longer duration. So these are the messages. So initially the connection needs to be established, peering session. Keep alive message is sending, that is saying that, okay, at a regular interval we are sending, this connection will be alive, and over that connection multiple, you can say, route advertisements can be sent, updates can be sent. Not necessarily that, okay, this router is always sending the entire its BGP table, maybe some selected route it can send to advertise to AS1. So then in notification message, shut down a peering session. If for a long duration there is no message have been exchanged, then they may consider to drop that connection, and when the next time again, after some time again requires to exchange some updates, then they can establish the connection again. So this is so basically this route announcement consists the prefix and the attribute values. So prefix, you know that this kind of thing, 120/12.20.10/20, suppose 23, something like that. Okay, so this is a network prefix. And attribute, one of the attribute I already introduced you, that is AS path is one attribute. There are other attributes are also used in BGP. There are so many are there, but some are very you can say common, which is commonly used. Others are very rarely used. But AS path is one of the attribute along with the prefix can go. That is must actually, because without that looping problem can be there. Okay, so till now it is fine. Okay, so we'll stop here once. So now the question is that, okay, suppose AS2 is sending some route to AS1. Now, on what basis AS1 will import this route into its table, BGP table? Import, whether it will import the route or not. That how, on what basis it will decide. Once it is import means basically what it will do, any traffic that comes to AS1 for that destination, it will forward to AS2. Similarly, AS2 also might have learned this route from some other AS and that is imported into its BGP table. So that also, so then AS2 will forward to that. So this way, hop by hop, that route advertisement is consistent. That's why in BGP we'll say that if suppose so there are two things. One is that AS2 is importing, so AS2 is exporting a route. Export a route. This exported route will be imported by the AS1 or not, that the AS1's call. But once AS2 decide that okay, it is exporting a route for certain prefix to AS1, then it's a commitment it is giving to the AS1 that okay, if you forward me any traffic that belongs to these destinations, I will forward such that they can reach to the destination. This is a commitment. So this is a hop by hop consistency is maintained. Because if this consistency is not maintained, then it's a problem actually. Because if AS2 is exporting a route, AS2 is exporting a route, but then when the AS1 is sending the traffic on that, and then AS2 deny that okay, no, I cannot forward this to, then it will be a problem, right? So the hop by hop consistency is must. That's a one thing. Second thing, important thing is that okay, export is there. So now which route AS2 will export? That's the one question. Second question is, if the AS2 has export the route, suppose based on its some criteria, we'll see that criteria also, and then it is depends upon AS1 whether the AS1 will import that route or not. That is also, for that also some criteria is used. So we say that there is we call this as an import and export policies which are used in the in the BGP protocol. It is defined. So whether a route which advertises to me, whether I will import in my table or not. One thing is guarantee that okay, once without importing I cannot export. But whether I will import, it may be possible I have imported, but I am not exporting to my any of the neighbor. That possibility is there, right? But once I export it, then it's my commitment which I'm giving to that. Okay, for these destinations, I can forward your traffic to the destinations. So whether a route will be imported by an autonomous system or exported by an autonomous system, that is decided based on the policy. That's why we call BGP is a policy based protocol. So now what are these policies, and that we'll discuss in the next class, but I just stop here after discussing this. So this policy is related to what? The relationship between the autonomous system. So autonomous system have the relationship of customer provider relationship, you can see. So you can see here ISP A is a provider for the ISP C. So ISP C is a customer for A. Similarly, ISP C and B have a peer-to-peer relationship. So peer-to-peer relationship is shown with a just single line without arrow. And the relationship between ISP A and B, what relationship is there? That B is a customer of A and B is a provider for D. So D is a customer of B. So you can see here there is a customer provider relationship, there is a peer-to-peer relationship, or there is a provider customer. That's reverse of that, right? So it depends upon with respect to which autonomous system you are talking. If I say between ISP E and B, there is a customer provider relationship, means E is a customer and B is a provider for it. And between ISP B and E, provider customer relationship. B is a provider and E is a customer. So based on this relationship, this import and export policy are decided. Import and export policies are decided. So that these policies we'll discuss in the next class. Okay. We'll stop here and So tomorrow they is a holiday, right? So so now I think this is basically this is the last topic which we'll cover in this network layer. So maybe a half an hour stuff is left, right? So if you are okay, then I can schedule a class tomorrow. Time you can tell me whatever time is convenient to you. Because after that next week onwards, then we'll start a link layer, and that link layer Professor Ashutosh Bhatia will take the class now. Okay. So from that is from the next week onwards, Tuesday onwards. But to complete this topic, I need a half an hour time. So if you are okay, then I can schedule a class for tomorrow. We can fix the time right now also. You can later, you can inform me. I am okay with any time tomorrow, because tomorrow you don't have any regular classes because of holiday. So we can have either on the same time or different time, you tell me. So, and if you say, okay, no sir, you don't take, then it's fine. Then we'll do something. Maybe I will share the slides. Sometime later I will complete this topic. But yeah, next week onwards, link layer will start, and that Professor Bhatia will take the class.